Hello, educators. Good evening, and thank you for joining. Without a further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Vipin Tuteja, a transformational leader with over 35 years of global experience across IT, finance, and telecom. He has successfully built businesses and high-performing teams in India and Southwest Asia, driving strategic growth and transformation. And accompanied consultant and executive coach, Mr. Tuteja has guided organizations from startup to multinationals in areas like strategic planning, leadership development, talent strategies, recognized for his innovative approach and people-centric leadership. He is committed to foster growth and inspiring leadership excellence. Let's call upon Mr. Vipin sir to lead today's session on leadership in action for our educators. The stage is all yours, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, and good evening, everyone, and a very happy New Year to all of you. It's my pleasure to be here amongst you all, and thank you, Aarti ji and Chavi ji, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to start the new year with such a great initiative. So, thank you very much once again. So, without further ado, let's go into our session today. What we are going to be talking about today is leadership. And before we start the session, uh, first of all, I wouldn't really call this as a session. I would call this more of conversational hours. So the next 2 hours, which we are going to be spending together, it's not going to be a one-way sort of a conversation coming from my side. What really I would want it to happen is that there are conversations which are from you, and we all discuss and talk about the various things. Because whatever we are going to be talking about today, it's not something that you probably have never heard or you're not aware of. But I think we will be bringing up certain things which we think are important in the journey of leadership. And then let's talk about what are the challenges which we face when we are trying to adapt to those things or behaviors. What do you feel in your own space? What do you think about it? You could talk about a challenge which is being faced by you. You could share examples of some of your colleagues. You could talk about anyone. But let's just discuss what really happens in real life situations. And let's talk about how can we actually overcome those challenges and bring about so more learnings from it. So let's make it, next 2 hours, which is full of discussions and conversations. So even before we go, can I ask everyone, what is leadership? Who is a leader? How do you describe a leader? Yes, Dipali ji.
Good evening, sir. Sir, from my point of view, leadership is the process of influencing, motivating, guiding individuals or teams towards achieving common goals. Or leader is someone, sir, who inspires others and empowers others to work together to achieve common goals, sir.
Perfect. Then are we all leaders, or who are leaders?
So
Who can we call? Sorry.
everybody can't be a leader.
Okay.
Only some people have those qualities of leadership. Those who are positive. Sometimes leadership. Some leaders are dominating, so we cannot work under that. I think leadership. So it varies person to person, sir. I think everybody can't be a leader, sir.
All right. Great. Vinny ji, you wanted to say something.
Actually, sir, according to me, a leader is a person that moves the team collectively with the teamwork, whether there is a high average person, whether there is a moderate person, or whether there is a below average person. It's the duty of the leader to move forward the team with the perfect team, take them collectively to move forward.
Okay, absolutely. Aisha ji wanted to add something.
Yes, sir. I agree with Vinny ma'am. A leader is someone who is a part of you. It's not that I am a leader, so I'm ordering you and you are doing the task. No, I am a I I am dealing with everything along with you, but yes, I am the one who is leading. So I'm not only responsible for something that happens that is good, I am also responsible for something that is not so good or something that is, it's not always that you will be on top. So even if you, the leader is a person who is able to take responsibility of both good and bad situation and guide the team accordingly. And he or she is the active member of the group. He or she is not the one who is just ordering and giving tasks for you to do. He is there to be in the team, and he or she is also the member of the group and working together.
Okay. Yeah, all are very right in this.
Sir,
Yes, please.
a leader is a person who chooses to inspire or empower.
Who chooses to inspire
Inspire.
and empower.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes, true. Somebody just mentioned a leader is a person who influences others.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Does every individual not influence in some way or the else?
Yeah. But everyone is not leader.
Yes, sir.
Ah,
But
Yes.
everybody is
okay.
not a leader, sir. That's what I say.
All right. But everybody is not a leader. And why do you say that? If on one hand you're saying a leader is a person who influences others,
Like
but
sir,
then you're saying,
Aisha,
but everybody is not.
like sir, Aisha ma'am quote very correctly. Leader itself work together with the team. It's not the person who only gives orders. So I think that's why everybody can't be a leader.
Okay. So what you're saying is that leader should have a certain qualities attached to him or her,
Hmm.
right? But on the other hand, we are saying a leader is also a person who influences. Now, in one way, everybody influences everyone. Now, I think the discussion where it comes to is whether we are influencing them in the right way or not.
Sir, actually, leadership is
This is the
independent of
point.
authority also.
Leadership is independent of authority. Correct.
Yes. Yes, sir.
It does not mean that anybody who has an authority is a leader.
Yes, sir.
So he has
Let
some
me,
unique qualities in him that others influenced by himself. He has some unique qualities.
so you're
So,
attributing,
so anybody who is inspiring and influencing anybody, it's a leader according to me.
okay. Sangeeta ma'am, may I ask you one thing? Do children inspire you?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Many times.
Yes,
Would you call them leaders or not?
Yeah, they are.
Right.
So,
So,
so anybody, I feel, any person who inspiring you, influencing you in a right position, in a right direction, and motivates, it's a leader. It's not
yeah,
a position. Yes, sir.
it's not a
So
position, it's
can
not
I?
hierarchy,
It's a quality.
it's
Yes, sir.
not authority.
It's a quality.
So,
It's, yes,
so I would not use the word influence, but I would use a leader as a person who convinces other in its own way, who has its vision and passion to take his team to the destination.
those are certain qualities of a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is where we are trying to say that a leader, any person can influence anyone, whether they have the right qualities or not for that specific environment, for that specific ecosystem, for that specific place, because every place, every business, every environment would require different sort of leadership skills. And also it depends as to what is the time that person is going through, what stage that business or what you're supposed to do defines what qualities that leader should have. Because one of the qualities which a leader also needs to have is adaptability. Another quality which a leader needs to have is ability to change. Yet another quality which we talk about in leadership is about agility. Now, all these things depend on what circumstances, what place, what business, what ecosystem you are in. So hence, now we come to a point where we say, okay, what quality defines a great leader? And more so in your profession. Okay, so the words which are standing out are visionary, understanding, motivating, enthusiastic. So what we've talked about is visionary, inspiring, understanding, passionate. Those are the ones which are standing out. Understand and appreciate the skill of everyone, inspire learning, foster teamwork, create engaging, supporting environment. Okay, that's great. Okay, we talked about all these qualities. Now, the important thing is we all know that these are the qualities which are required. How do we operationalize these qualities is something which you need to think about. When you are at your workplace, how do you make sure that you are operationalizing and your behaviors are aligned towards what you think a true leader should be? So, very simply, I had put down that a great leader in the classroom demonstrates empathy, active listening, and adaptability. Now, be it being visionary, be it being innovative, showing empathy, listening to everyone, adaptability is all good. But then what happens in the classroom? How do you make that happen? Now, some of the things which an effective teacher leader can do in terms of when you said being innovative or being passionate uh, is how do you communicate? How do you communicate with, let's say, the students? How do you communicate with the parents? How effective is your communication? How do you inspire? You're saying a leader should be inspiring, but then how do you inspire students? How do you bring about the excellence? How do you bring about the respect for leaders? We spoke about emotion. We talked about emotional quotient or emotional agility. How do you bring in the emotional balance? You have your curriculum goals, but then we often see there is also the emotional well being of children, which needs to be taken care of as of today. How do you balance between them? How do you support the children? How do you mentor? How do you collaboratively work with everyone? You not only mentor your students, but how do you also mentor some of your peers, some of your colleagues? How do you gain their support and how do you provide them support? How do you lead by example? What about the resilience? Are you resilient? Do you have the patience to actually see things through? Or do you react to situations? What about the cultural sensitivity? Do you keep that in mind because you have children coming in from all different cultural backgrounds? Are you aware what is important for them and what may impact them? Do you appreciate diversity or do you lead by bias? or do you become very, very judgmental? Because often what happens is, because of our own lenses and the way we are, we tend to look at and judge people from the same lenses. Whereas everybody else has had a different life journey and they come from different backgrounds. So, do we really understand the diversity which exists within the classroom and the school? And are we able to appreciate that? And that's not only with respect to the students, but also with respect to your colleagues, with respect to your stakeholders, with respect to the management, the founders, everybody. Do you face any challenges when you come to any of these, what you see on the screen? Okay, let's
Sir,
just move ahead.
may
Yes,
I?
ma'am.
Yeah. Good evening,
Yes,
sir.
ma'am.
Sir,
Good evening.
I feel the parent involvement. Either the
Yes.
parent is not at all involved, or then the parent is involved to such an extent that they even hamper the working of the teachers. So the extreme cases are there rather than the right amount or the right way we should speak. That is what I feel.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Uh, some parents are very passionately involved, some are completely dissociated, uh, and which is where, you know, we have to see that how do we handle these situations. So, in this case, how do we handle the parents? How do we handle the children? The important thing is, can you change the way the parents are, right?
No, sir.
You can't. So, what is it that we can do from our side to help the cause? Now, the cause over here is, if the parent is being overindulgent or being very passionate, or let's say on the other hand, the parent is being absolutely disassociated with the child, what is the impact it's creating? Can we understand and can we try and help over there? Aisha ji, you raised a hand.
Yes, sir. So this is what is the challenge that we all facilitators face is that, if the parent is over involved or too passionate, so, what we have seen is that we tend to give. This is natural, I feel. Nobody's biased in this sense. But if someone is continuously telling us, ma'am, about this, ma'am, what this, what next, so you tend to reply to them, and in that case, what happens? That child is being taken extra care. I mean, we give extra care to that child. Maybe there can be two reasons. One is that the parent is very good and very over involved, and later, that parent is there to support us. Secondly, the parent is really very fussy. The parent is after us. And I think if we don't do it, the parent will create a lot of fuss or will not agree to it. And the
Agreed,
parents
agreed.
who are not involved, there are cases where you keep on sending messages, where you keep on calling, they don't respond. And on the last day, they will wake up and they will say, ma'am, was this supposed to be done? Or if something is just over and the parent says, ma'am, I was not aware. So then what happens, we again, I'm saying the same thing. I won't say it is some kind of biasness for the parents who, or for the parents who are quite passionate about their children and their studies and their education, but we definitely try 3 times, 4 times. Max we can do is call them. If they don't receive the call, send them messages. If they are not responding, even after 3 to 4 times, what we do? Kya karenge? It's all right, leave it if the parents are not in. So I feel as an educator that that child, from our side, we are giving our 100% to that child. But the part which the parent was supposed to give, the child is not getting. So I somehow feel that there is, I won't say exactly the word neglecting, but yes, there are points where the child can do much better, but we need support from the parent. But that support we are not getting. So I feel it is not positive in the part of that students. The whole process of study or facilitating something.
So, ma'am very rightly said. I think the important point which is to be seen over here is that the behavior of parents should not impact our dealing with the child. So we should not start overindulging in that child or stop saying anything to them or, you know, really move them away because you cannot change the parents. They are the way they are. What you should try and do is make sure you are doing the best. Now, this is because you're in this profession, you feel this way. But if you were to just take this outside the classroom or outside the school, let's say you have siblings and you have brothers, sisters, and you would want them to do something, and you know that what would work probably best for them. Do they always follow that? Do they always do it? Do we not have difference of opinion? We do. It happens in most of the relationships that yes, we are looking at it from our lens. We would want it to happen in a certain way, and we can see certain things, but then we cannot control everything. The best thing is to look at what is controllable. Is that controllable or not controllable? If it is not controllable, I think our energy should be focused on what you can do. How can you be better towards that child? And how can you take care of that child and make sure the child grows? So, as long as you are doing the best, I think that is where the focus should be on. Because a lot of time, what happens is, and this happens, across organizations, across businesses, when you have teams, different businesses working, obviously you want things to go in a certain way, but it doesn't really happen that way. What you can do is try and do your best. Have the best of the communication. Make sure you have a proper engagement, parent engagement plan, which is there. Make sure you communicate. Make sure you do not let any bias or judgment come in. And you do your best. I think that is an important thing to see and move forward on that. Now, when we look at all of you as leaders, another thing which comes into mind is, okay, which should be done more, leadership or management? Should you be focusing more on leadership or should you be focusing more on management?
Sir, I
What
think
should we do?
management is important.
Both are important.
If we
Both are
manage each and everything, help them
yes.
to understand empathy, share our knowledge, our experiences through some examples, then we can manage those students who are really actually want our help. And then if we are successful at least to help one student as a mentor, then we are really a leader for them.
Very right, Ninaji. Thank you for that. What you mentioned having empathy.
Yes.
Empathy is a part of leadership, actually. Right? So management is more of transactional thing where you're bringing in the operational efficiency. You're making sure everything is structured, everything is happening in a timely manner. What you're talking about is the guidance. You're talking about the empathetic approach, which is leadership. So it's important to balance both the things, and both are equally critical.
Yes, sir.
So, I just put an example. For example, in a classroom, you encourage a student to propose creative solutions during a science project, which demonstrate leadership, promotes innovation, but you also ensure that it's all done in a timely manner.
Yes.
And that becomes the management part of it.
Yes.
So, what are the essential leadership traits which one can look at as educators? Very important, the communication. Is that happening with the students, the parents, the peers, the stakeholders, or not? The second is extremely important, which is integrity. Now, what do we mean by integrity? Integrity, we normally mix it with saying, am I being honest or not? I think integrity has got more to do with, are your actions aligned to the words? So, what you are communicating, what you're teaching, are your actions aligned towards that or not? Because many a times we think in a particular way, but our actions are not really aligned to how we are thinking and what we intend doing. And that becomes a very important part of it. Everybody's mentioned empathy, understanding and addressing the emotions and perspectives. Now, what I would want you to caution is, don't mix empathy with sympathy. They are two very different things. Empathy is where you just say, okay, I understand what is happening. I understand why it is happening. You may agree with it or not, that's a separate thing altogether. You may not agree with everything, but you just understand where the other person is coming from. Agreeing with it becomes a mode of sympathy. So that's something which is completely different. A lot of times we shy away from it because the feeling which comes into our mind is that I don't agree with it. So you may not agree, but you can understand where that person is coming from. That becomes a more important thing. You don't have to agree with everything. So being empathetic is very, very important. Decision making. You have to be decisive. You just gave an example of parents, how they are, what do they say, how to handle them. You have to be decisive in saying, okay, this is what it is. We are communicating to you. You can decide what's best for your child. But you have to be decisive. And then the vision. All of you mentioned this. Vision was one of the most, important word which you had mentioned with that word cloud. Have you established and articulated a future goal which motivates everyone? And again, if we were to look at some of the examples, during parent-teacher meeting, a teacher who listens attentively to concern and communicates clearly about a student's progress builds trust. It does not mean the parent will do whatever you want them to do. You have to communicate, you have to convey everything. Don't start judging the parent because you cannot control that. Integrity, upholding classroom rules, honesty in grading. Are you treating everybody in the same way? Are you building credibility with the students? Empathy, where I said, when the student is going through a problem or they have a personal issue, are you able to help them? Do you understand which student is going through that problem? Do you know of it? Decision making. Do you take a call and say, okay, because of something which happened, and suddenly the holidays which came in because of the bad weather or bad fog or some political things which have happened, are you able to adjust? And are you able to balance the needs? Is that happening or not? In terms of vision, again, showing how critical teamwork is, how to motivate the students. Another most important thing in the leadership for all the educators is leading by example. We spoke about resilience earlier. Are you calm and adaptable? Are you able to handle all situations? Are you consistently being on time to set standard for others? Are you Have you adapted to continuous learning so that you inspire others? And how respectful are you to others to create that environment for others to learn on this? So, another example over here is, let's say you're holding a class which is online class, and there are some technical issues which happen, which is a normal thing to happen. Are you, as a teacher, able to stay calm and find an alternate way of doing something, which demonstrates resilience? Because please remember, all the students are watching you. You are inspiring them, you are influencing them. So, the way you are, if you are resilient and if you are calm, that is what they're going to learn from you. Okay, we will go through this self assessment exercise, and there are 8 reflective questions on this. And Siddhant, if I can request you to put this up. So whatever you're going to be answering, so you'll have 8 statements. You'll have to rate them from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. All your answers are anonymous, so nobody will know who's answered what. You have 3 minutes. After completion, let's just go through, which were the lowest rated, which are the highest rated, and then we can discuss that. Okay, so I think we are through. So what we see over here is probably the most challenging is, am I empathetic in challenging situations? No. Do I communicate expectations clearly and consistently? That's the most challenging. Then is empathetic in challenging situation. And after that is, how adaptable am I to changes in lesson plans or classroom dynamics? Very interesting. So would someone like to talk about it? What holds you back in communicating expectations clearly and consistently? Okay,
Yes, sir.
would anyone like to talk about their observations on the chart? What do you feel about it? What do you think about it?
Sir, as far as I am concerned, I feel that I do communicate the expectations clearly and consistently with my students and everyone. But yes, if I see for myself, the most challenging part is adaptable to the changes in lesson plans and the classroom dynamics. That at times is challenging because the classroom dynamics, there are different types of learners, there are different types of situations the students are dealing with. So accordingly adapting, and as you know that we have to finish up with the syllabus, we have our own goals to be completed and everything. So adaptability in that regard is really less. But yes, when we are taking the classes, when we are doing the work, anything in the class, be it the rules or the classwork or the homework assignments, anything, communication, that is very very important and should be there. And for me, I believe that is what I feel as a teacher individual. I do communicate clearly with my students that this is what you are expected to do, and if they want something from me, they are also free to tell me ki ma'am, today we are feeling like this. And so that communication is a very very integral part of a good classroom, and that has to be there.
Okay. So what does everyone else think about it on what Mamta ji just mentioned?
So can I speak?
Please.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with Mamta ma'am that communication is very, very important. It is an integral part. But yes, the I mean, sometimes where we feel the challenge is that how adaptable am I to change in lesson plan and classroom dynamics. Now, what happens, as ma'am clearly said, that we have to complete a syllabus. That is a one thing. But whenever we enter a class, maybe we should always have one plan B with us. Not, if not very clear, but at least something, so that, if I wanted to do this particular lesson, but somehow due to technical glitch, my smart board is not working, or there is a power cut. I can't do anything related to technology now. How should I introduce the same topic with something interesting that my children will remain in the class and not show disinterest in the class? Children, we teach primary levels, grade 3 to 5 basically. So class 5 is, at least we can, they at least listen, they are quite big enough. But class 3, it is very difficult to keep their, this that they have to listen to you, you have to do something. Either you immediately come up with a plan B, and the plan B is either a story, your real life experience. You're talking about honesty. Like, for example, along with being an English teacher, we also teach SEL, social emotional learning. Now, I'm just telling you one example. I wanted to show a video, and that video, the technical thing was there, and I could not. So the children said that, now, ma'am, and the topic was, then I said, okay, let's play a game and let's play bingo. Now, this bingo is not the normal bingo. Being an English teacher, I would have played synonym bingo, antonyms bingo, but we played emotions. I told them, think about 10 emotions. It can be anything. And then we started playing the game. And the moment I kept 10 with me, and I told the children that you think about 10 emotions and write it down. So I'm not explaining the whole game, but yes, what I was saying, that that 40 minutes was quite interesting, and children were jumping, when their particular emotion that they have written and the one which I was striking out on the board. So I feel there was this connect without any technology. So we should always be prepared that whatever I am doing, there has to be a plan B to it. Maybe it is not very clear, it is something vague, but at least something should be there that you can work on it, and you can just sprinkle in the class and make it lively if things don't work out. So I think this is important. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Aisha ji, for your input.
Good evening. Can I add something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. Here, I totally agree with ma'am. Adaptability, since we are taking care of early years, we always have plan A, B, C, D, E, F till Z. Because, yes,
True, ma'am.
yes, we cannot expect their mood, their, interest and everything. So if we have to teach them English, we will be teaching them English by the end of the day. But how? That is, in between our plan A to Z. That's our plan. So we have to work according to that, and collaborate decision making again. If they are saying we are not interested in learning maths, it's okay. We are just dropping maths. Take up something else. Okay, it's up to them. End of the time, we have to complete the syllabus. Thank God that we are not, restrained to complete 4 period and we have to teach all these things. We are blessed to be early years teachers, actually, in that sense. And here, communication expectations clearly and consistently. Yes, here it is a two-way communication with the children and with the parents as well. Yes, that is very, very important, because that's a foundational years, actually. So whatever expectations that we have from our children, that we cannot completely communicate with our students, we have to keep our parents, also learning partners. Then only we can, achieve the goal 100%. Yes, classroom values.
Yeah.
This is one
Yeah.
very, very important point over there, especially in early years, because they are learning from you. That classroom is actually a home away from home for them.
Correct.
So sometimes they see you as a role model, not sometimes, every time. So we have, received so many feedback from parents. Ma'am, आप ही समझाओ. मैम ने बोला है सूरज पश्चिम से आता है तो पश्चिम से ही आता है. So here we have to be that much clear. So whatever classrooms, we normally do not use that classrooms. rules, we take that word essential agreements. So these are the agreements that we keep. So you also have to keep, I also have to keep. I cannot skip away from this thing. So if it is that we have to be quiet during our lunch break or something, I am also not allowed to talk in between the lunch break. Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, if I am telling that you are not allowed to speak loudly with your friends, I am also not allowed to talk loudly with my friend, a teacher friend. I'm not.
Right.
So I have to be that much clear in keeping the rules and following the rules as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Revati ma'am. So, it is so interesting. All of you have given examples and which clearly says how important it is for all of you to be the right role model and have demonstrate the right leadership, traits because everybody is watching you. In fact, all of us, even in the corporate world, we say we are all like, fish in a bowl. So we are that fish, we are in a bowl, and everybody is watching us. And they know exactly what we are doing. Everybody is cued on to us. So every little action which we take is noticed by us. Every word which we speak is caught on by everybody. And they remember that. In fact, you are in a position where you are probably a bigger influence than the parents also. Because sometimes the parents don't have that much of time. At least you get that dedicated hours with those children for a certain specific days in a number of years. And that stays with them. So you're the biggest influencers. So thank you very much for this participation. Let's just move ahead. Okay, from this, what I would also want you to do is just make a note of what is one area which you probably noticed you would like to work upon. And then consciously select that area and decide to act on it. Because as you said, it is very important and everybody is noticing you. They do get influenced by you. So write down one leadership commitment which you will practice. Okay, now how do you instill the leadership qualities in the students? One is being a leader yourself. But how do you make them future leaders? As to how you would want a good leader to be. So are you focusing on their self-confidence?
We are focusing on developing their skills, sir, whatever skills they have.
Okay.
More on that.
Are we also, do we try and see which skill do
Yes.
they have more of than the other?
Yes.
Excuse me,
Yes.
sir. We sometimes we give them duties, right? In class,
Yeah.
Right.
different duties. Like
Yes.
you are the furniture monitor, you are the cubby hole monitor.
Diary monitor,
Task with you.
different
You
monitors.
observe which child is good in which like duty, right? So then we can identify that this child has leadership qualities. So we do this in our classroom.
Yeah. So one thing you've got to be very careful about is every person will not have all leadership qualities.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
But every person has the ability to influence, which itself makes them a leader. Now, what qualities can they be better at versus the others is where you have to nudge them and also help them improve on it. Because these qualities then also decide their future as to what sort of profession, what sort of work would they get into. Because every person cannot do everything.
Mhm.
So, what would they be best at helps them decide. Also, it sometimes is a good idea to try some things out with various students. Because let's say they may be good apparently on one quality, but let's say you see a potential of another. Do you give them the opportunity to try out that potential and see how they are? So, are you helping them in their communication? Are you helping them to build their confidence? Are you helping them to be creative? Aisha ji, yes.
Yes, sir. So this the point which you just mentioned is that there are certain everybody cannot have all the qualities, but yes, we have to give them opportunities. And the
Yes.
example that Shubhra ma'am has just given about giving them the opportunity to become the class monitor. It can be any duty. It can be a class monitor. It can be electricity monitor, a line monitor, anything. Maybe children have different opinion. They will say, "Ki, ma'am, oh, he's so shy. He can't even manage the class. He himself stays so quiet. What will he do?" But if I show trust in him, that child will try to prove me right. I will not
Correct.
say on a
Definitely.
scale of 10 or 1 to 10 he will be 10 on 10, but at least he can be 6 on 10. That is
Yes.
something when everybody expected the child to be 2 on 10, but now that child has showed progress. So
Yes.
we as facilitators, we as here the role of a class teacher is very, very important. Maybe someone is very naughty and nobody will everybody complains about that child, and you give them the responsibility. You tell that child that, see, your friends are complaining, but now if you can show them that you are not like this always, then I think the child will definitely understand that yes, if my teacher, my fellows, my friends who are giving that support, that and they are trusting me, so I should not break that trust. So I feel
Yes.
this is very important that you as a CT, as a class teacher, identify everybody cannot be all negative or everybody cannot be all good. There are certain qualities in different, everybody is different. That, of course, we as class teacher observe. We take, maybe, a shy child becomes the class monitor maybe after 4 months. A child who's very naughty becomes the monitor after 3 months, so that we take that time and understand that what is that one quality in that particular child which we can help uh, in enhancing, or we can polish that, or we can give them
You can nurture that quality.
nurture that point. Exactly, sir. So I think
Yes.
this is very important. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely right. Thank you very much. In fact, the example is something which you all just talked about. This is how we can actually help. Kajal ji, you wanted to say something.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. So this is
Good
what I'm
evening.
just trying to say is at least we should give them some opportunity so that sometimes children may come out of the flying colors which we don't know actually. So we need to first give them the opportunity to come out. Maybe he can be maybe we can judge wrongly a particular child. So definitely after assessing their potential by giving them the opportunity will definitely help us to recognize the best talent in the child so that we can give the maximum nurtureness to the children so that they can come out with the best of their potentials.
Yes, thank you so much, Kajal ji. Subhi ji, you wanted to mention something.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good
Sir,
evening.
I just wanted to add that one such thing I have felt in my class is the class assembly. Because whenever we are having the class assembly or something, competitions like that, so we are able to see the creativity they have. Some ones are very good in communication, some are in good in art. They are making charts and the posters for the assembly. So I think I have seen most of the level of whatever they are good in the students, because in our class assemblies there is 100% participation. So I was able to make out that what in different activities the different children were proving themselves, and they participated so well, someone in poems, someone in singing, like that. So I was able to find out their creativity and their whatever skills they have in that. So that was the one thing that I will do. take.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing, Sumiji. Biniji.
Actually, sir, last before Diwali, I was busy with the house competition because I'm the in charge of the house. So I have given my class a responsibility that you have to decorate your class yourself for the occasion of Diwali and you have to make Rangoli. I didn't make any leader over there, but they have managed very well. They have made themselves a few members who can manage the whole class with the decoration, who will do decoration, who will do that part and Rangoli. And the arrangement teacher told me that that students have managed this very well. They know who will lead them, and they know how to manage themselves in a united team. So
How
what I have
wonderful.
observed that students can do that.
Yes, sure. Definitely. Vinisha ji, you wanted to mention something.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, I just want to add on. Already, many of my teachers have mentioned it. But what I feel is, sir, let's give a chance to each and everyone. Like, for example, in my class, what we do is, we all before the year starts, we already allot all the children according to the monitors, like classroom monitor and book monitor, and so each and every child's name is there on the board. On the board, we write their names and we keep it. So children know, okay, this month, these two monitors. Then for the, maintenance of the class, another monitor, book monitor, again changed, row monitor changed. So every month, each one of them gets a chance. Now, whether the child is good or not, but still they want to take up that post. You're not good at that as a monitor. You're not able to write and maintain the monitor book, but at least you're trying or making an attempt to do it. So other friends, they try to help the children, like, okay, come on, I will help you how to write it, how to do this task. So I don't say that each and every child is good in everything, but they want to be part of it. For example, a child is not good in dancing, but the child wants to be on the stage, so why not let her dance the way she wants to? So that's what, sir. Thank you.
No, excellent. Thank you so much for your input. Dipali ji.
Yes, sir. I want to quote the example from my class. I have a student in my class who cannot sit for a second. I have to engage him in some kind of activities. But whenever there is a Jan Gan Man is going on, wherever he is, he always stands straight, and all the kids stop like doing other things, and they also stand up. So he's one of the finest example from my class that every child is unique, every child has different qualities, and we have to identify as an educator.
How wonderful. Great example. Thank you so much for sharing, Dipali ji.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, it was great to hear all these examples and what really happens in the classroom. Very heartening to know that. But it also, once again re-emphasizes the fact that how important it is and the role which you play in actually nurturing and developing the leadership qualities of the children right from the younger age. Okay, we spoke about some of these things. We talked about the projects. We talked about the classroom activities of what can happen. We also talked about the school events, which you can do. Yeah, so that's another example which some of you also spoke about. So what you also end up doing when you actually share the responsibilities is you also teach them about decision making, teamwork, and the importance of having a responsibility. And some of you mentioned that when people who are, let's say, a child who's very talkative or noisy, but the moment you give them anything which they are responsible for, their behavior actually changes. So yes, you can give them the role-defined activities uh, and give them all the practical experiences. Okay, let's do another quiz. And Siddhant, if you can put this up, these are multiple choice questions. So, I'm taking you back to your school days and asking you to do the multiple choice questions. Uh, Again, we'll have about 3 to 5 minutes for this. Uh, All the answers which you give here would be completely anonymous. And after completion, we will go through what the right answers are. I'll share it with everyone and also share the reasoning behind that answer. If anyone has any other observation about it, would be happy to discuss and talk. But do please ask questions for clarifications.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll take this thing forward. So,
Thanks,
educators,
Siddharth.
now in front of your screen, this is a very new concept. Maybe you would have seen after a long while. So, in front of your screen, there would be a Zoom quiz that's going to pop around. All right. So, I have launched it. You may not be able, I mean, you all would have started to see that particular launch in front of your screen, which has a title Leadership Quiz for Educators. You just need to opt for the questions, I mean, opt for the options, and you just need to submit. Once you are done with the submissions and everything, after 3 to 5 minutes, as Sir mentioned, I will end the poll. So if anyone is facing any issues, feel free to unmute yourself and please go ahead with it. Your poll has been activated. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
So please do choose whatever answer you think is right.
I hope the poll results is in front of your screen, everyone. You can also analyze. And Vipin, sir, I think you can take it forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So what I can see from here is on question number one, there is a 56 and a 44% split between the first two answers, which is assigning the same role to every student and observing strengths in communication and initiative. Or number two, the majority is with giving students ownership of a project. Some have also said and chosen teacher-led classroom discussions, and some others on assigning students a rigid uh, task list without flexibility. On the third, there is a unanimous agreement on number two, which is by using group projects with clearly defined roles. On fourth also, it's a unanimous thing on understanding and adjusting to students' emotional needs. Number five, well, majority have said by being consistent in their actions and words. And some have made a choice on by making exceptions to rules randomly, and some others on by overlooking their own mistakes. Number six is also pretty unanimous, except few have also chosen to prevent group discussions. Number seven is completely unanimous on adapting and continuing after challenges. Number eight again is completely unanimous by creating a safe space for brainstorming. Number nine, some people have chosen restricting parental involvement, while most of you have said encouraging community service and local projects. And number 10, there is a unanimous. Okay, let's just go through as to ideally what the situation should be. Okay, so for number one, answer B is the most likely choice. The reason for it is that you recognize diverse strengths which help identify some of the emerging leaders. Some people had chosen A also. Would anyone like to share any observation on this? In fact, we can look at all three on the screen. There is answer B for 2 and answer B for 3. If anyone has any observation or would like to talk about it, you're most welcome to.
Sir, may I?
Yes,
With your
please.
kind permission. Okay. So the first one in the question number one, the the first option, I believe that is not actually very much possible assigning the same task because that can be done only one time or two times, but in everyday situation in the classrooms, we do observe the students. We do observe their strengths, their what thing they like to do more, their interest, and the happiness quotient in doing kind of, because it's not one thing we are doing in the class. We are doing diverse things. So
Sure.
that option is definitely for me is number one. But assigning the same role, I fear I don't go with that, because I feel it is so students.
Yeah. So, well, the thing is, we felt that most likely it should be answer B. Whereas, some may like to choose some other way of doing it, and that's all right. But the most effective, we think, would be B in this. Any other observations? Anyone else who would like to share? Either on one, two, or three. I think which activity best encourages student-led initiatives? There was a unanimous agreement on giving students ownership of a project. How can educators foster teamwork and accountability? By using group projects with clearly defined roles. Again, there was some who had chosen some other answers, but we felt that this is the most properly effective. But if someone has a viewpoint, happy to hear that. Okay, let's
Yes,
go.
sir. Can I speak?
Yes, please.
On number three, I go with the answer that is shown on the screen by using group project with clearly defined rules. When we go by assigning solo assignments, all if there are 20 students, all assignments do not have the same result. So how can we judge each and every child by giving them the same project? We cannot do that. Okay, and group, yes, a group becomes, if we divide the class into group of 5 or 4, there will be different kinds of children. Some will be good in speaking, some would be good in brainstorming and giving ideas. So the one who is handling the communication part will be able to put it forward. So I feel this goes the best. I think this is giving students ownership of a project with defined goal will go best with it.
Yeah.
Assigning students a rigid task, we can't even assign them something rigid, and there cannot be any flexibility. So then it will be wrong on their part. And preventing students from suggesting changes. Now, if a child feels that, if we do this in this particular way, I think we should respect everybody's opinions. And maybe when I, as a teacher, am introducing or giving a task, I have one set goal. But maybe from their point of view, they may come up with something new. So I feel we should always accept, changes, their suggestions. So answer number B, I feel is correct.
Yeah. Sure, man. Because when we talked about the leadership qualities and the traits, we also spoke about teamwork and building accountability. So, how do we teach teamwork and accountability? Is obviously when they are in a group, when they're together with everyone, and they learn to understand and everybody's perspectives and viewpoints, etc., which is what we thought probably would the best answer. RTG, you wanted to say something.
I just want to add on to, I want to ask to all the teachers, how easy for you to make the student do teamwork? Because I myself being teacher and now the president of an global foundation, I could see so many fights, so many disconnect among the members of the team, and ultimately the work is not done, lot of blame game. So everything is going on. So yeah, definitely teamwork, making them understand to do it in the best possible way is a great thing, but yes, it is difficult. So according to you, you write in the chat, is it easy for you, is it moderate for you, or is it difficult for you, but still everybody is trying to do this teamwork in their classes? Let us see few of the answers, then we can go ahead, because I feel this is at
Challenging.
times, जब बहुत बच्चों की लड़ाई होती है तो मैं बोल देती हूँ अच्छा इंडिपेंडेंट काम कर लो. I just want to know what the teachers nowadays are feeling.
Challenging, ma'am.
Yeah, yes. So it is
Yes,
difficult, we agree. Yes, but yes, we have to encourage, because one day in their lifetime they will realize the importance of why in the school they are being told to do teamwork. Moderate. Okay, great. That means if the teacher is saying that it is moderate, so keep on continuing, and the journey is very closer to you, the to your aim of building that teamwork attitude among the children. Very good. Okay, continue, Vipinji.
No, great. I'm glad you brought this up, Artiji. If I would just build a little bit further on this and ask you, so how do you overcome this challenge?
Again, let me tell you, like in our this video editing team, there are close to 20 children. And when we as we see ki, oh my god, there are 20 children of same kind of ability, then they must be able to do quality work and work on time. But everybody's work is nobody's work. Like that ultimately those 20 people were not working, but all other teams with small number of members they were working. So what I feel, now I have divided the team into 10 ABCD 10 groups, and in each group there are two people. And finally I got the 5 videos today only because of this kind of strategy. So depending on the kind of student we are having, we need to work on which kind of teamwork will help us. So we need to be very creative for making them do this kind of team. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, Aisha ji.
Um, yes, I agree to you, ma'am. But here again, when you're dealing with little children, they're like clay. You can mold them with the way you want, you know. But yes, the challenge, the most important thing is how you divide the group. You cannot have all the smart children or someone who's very, very good in speaking in one group. So that we have to work on that. Yes, our division should be in a way that, every group has different kind of creative children who are creative in their own field. Secondly, yes, I totally agree. Primary children are moldable. You can talk to them, you can give them some examples, you can show them the goal, and half of your work is done. Yes, in comparison to the children who are little grown up, like we can see the difference in the students of grade 5 and the students of grade 3. Grade 3 will follow you blindly. You say this is right, they will say right. As Dipali ma'am had pointed out for some example, or someone else, that in when they are in Montessori wing, if you say that sun sets uh, in the north, they will say yes, teacher is right and everybody else is wrong. I agree to this. Primary, yes, 3, 4, 5, you have to be a little tactful, otherwise they will listen to you. But senior children, yes, ma'am, I agree, it is really big challenge. So for us, we have to work on kind of division we have to do for the group work. And I think they fairly present something, at least, even after some challenges, they bring out, present something positive and good.
Thank you very much, Aisha ji. Mamta ji.
Sir, I totally agree with Aisha ma'am what she has said. See, making a group is a big thing for us as a teacher because we have to see the right segregation of the students in each group. Depending on the number of students in the class, whether we have to make a group of 3 or 4, and we have to ensure that there is a child in the group of every capability. So in that, there's a positive thing that the children who are not very much clear with the concept or is very keen will learn something. Also, as you said, we will see the leadership qualities, who is leading the group, who is guiding everyone. And yes, as Aarti ma'am rightly said, it is a challenging thing to do the teamwork, but then that is where our managerial skills as a teacher comes into the play. There would be groups who would be working very smoothly, but then there would be groups who would have some, tougher, some differences. They will come up, ma'am isne ye keh diya, ma'am isne ye keh diya. And that is where we have to manage, we have to play tactfully, we have to resolve the issues and get them back to the work and get it done. So yes, it is challenging but not impossible, definitely.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mamta ji. Revati ji.
Yeah.
Here, since I have already told you that I'm taking care of early years, so here we have already started making groups during the activities in the class itself, and how we are going to divide the group, because they have a tendency, if we ask them to, okay, let's form a circle and stand in a circle, so they have a tendency to, hold the hands of their bestest of friends together. Okay, you come with me, you come with me, so we will stand together and we'll make a circle. But then we have developed one another idea of creating groups like, okay, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, they will count themselves, and all the ones in one group, all the twos in one group, all the threes. So definitely the close friendships are broken. Okay, but once they realize that they are in a group and they have to work together, so that group themselves become a close group, and they, I've seen many a times that they show such a team spirit. They are just 4+ age group. And we had one, I had given them a task of, make a list of things that you would like to take if you're planning for a picnic. And then I additionally added on that you will be having one pet that you can decide whether you want to take a cat with you or do you want to take a puppy with you. That's up to you. But you have to carry things for that pet also. You are going for a picnic. So since they're very small children, they cannot list out the things, in written. So they have decided they can draw as well. So initial stage for 5 minutes, they were unable to identify, okay, how will we do this work? But then later, while, once they understood, it was a huge, what can I say? It's a pleasure to watch them. It's a group of 6 children in each table, and somebody was giving ideas. So one child, took the paper. I will write. I will draw. So he was writing. Okay, the child. Everybody was giving ideas. Okay, we'll take this. We'll take this. We'll take this. But one child, he took the paper to draw. Then the other child said, "Okay, now you have finished. Now give me the chance. I will also draw. You give me your ideas." So it was really wonderful. So I still have those sheets pasted in my classroom. And then finally I said, okay, whatever the decision that you have done and what are all the things, only one member of the team will be presenting this, and else everybody will be listening to that. And they selected themselves, okay, this child is going to present. So that was also a group decision actually. They did not fight for each other. Okay, okay, I will do, I will do, I will do. So that was a good thing. So I think we should start this group discussions and everything from the foundational years as well. Then only they will be learning it in a better way. This is my point of view.
Thank you very much for
Thank you so
sharing,
much.
Riddhi ji. Vanisha ji?
Yes, sir. So I agree that yes, it is challenging. One of the examples I can share it with all of you is in the group, all type of students are there, the low achiever, high achiever, everyone is there. And we have divided them accordingly. But what happens at times is the leader, the child who's good at it, he takes up the lead, but he doesn't share the content with all of them. He decides by himself, he takes up the lead, he himself presents, and others are left out. And especially the child who's unable to speak or unable to contribute, or the child who's going to learn from others, is not getting a chance. So I observed in one of the groups that the child is taking up everything. So where the other kids are supposed to learn, they're not getting it. They're not getting a chance to speak up. So it becomes challenging wherein we have to check on them. We have to be very careful and vigilant that is everybody participating? Is everybody getting a chance? So definitely it becomes challenging. So as a teacher, we have to be vigilant about such things wherein, the smarter one will take up the lead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Vanisha ji. I think Jayashree ma'am had raised her hand.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good
Jayashree
evening.
here. Sir, what happened? We divide the group, right? And then the smarter ones, they are the one they overpower the one who they don't speak much. So they divide the work in such a way that, for example, let's say last week there was a project I assigned them, printouts or coloring or drawing. The toughest work is being assigned by them to the one who don't speak much. So there we have to intervene and divide the work equally. So
Okay.
that is the
How very
challenge we
interesting.
face. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
interesting. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go on to the yes, Rachna ji.
Actually, I'm dealing with the grade 11th and 12th.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. So, so what I used to, yes, this is sometimes challenging, but generally I have to keep on telling them continuously throughout the session, day today or matlab next day or very oftenly I have to tell them कि there are two things. You may be biased with each other. You may be not very good in terms of a friendship. But when it comes to a project or a work, there is some work ethics. When you will step out for your matlab, for graduation or engineering or wherever you will go, so at that time you won't be able to come to know. And I keep on mentioning such incidents as well of the senior students of the कि you will never come to know कि who will be given to you in your team. So you have to be very, very resilient in this regard. Ki there are work ethics are different, and your professional relationship is a different thing. So be very sure about this thing. Whosoever is there, when you are working together, you have to keep it aside. So this is the one thing which I used to tell them every time. Second thing, I always create a rubric performer in which the all group has to create a slide in which they have to mention which work is given by whom. But as far as the presentation is concerned, whether bigger one, but if the one is doing research work, then the other will present little, but the bibliography he will explain properly and why that particular bibliography, why that particular reference is there in bibliography, which portion he has taken from that, he has to mention that, so that everyone would get a chance to communicate as well. That is a basic requirement for being a good leader. So and the second thing, if any support is there, sometimes it happens because I keep on jumbling. I never s- if first time I'm giving them the chance to choose your own team, then though I keep an eye to what type of kids they are taking, then second time I will jumble them. Third time I will give the random thing के roll numbers choose कर लो जिसका भी आज. So it goes on like this. So in that way I keep on mingling them. So they know कि आज मेरा साथ इसके साथ है तो कल मेरा उसके साथ भी आ सकता है. तो I have to equate with each other in a मतलब decent manner. So as far as the work ethics are concerned, so this is how I used to do it.
Thank you very much for sharing, Rachnaji. Appreciate that. Yeah. So let's look at the 4, 5, and 6. You can see what are the right answers. In some of them, again, some were unanimous, but there were yet some other choices made by other people. So if anyone would like to talk about or have an observation on any of these three questions, most welcome to. So what demonstrates empathy in classroom setting is understanding and adjusting to students' emotional needs. How can educators model integrity? By being consistent in their action and words, which we had talked about earlier also. What is the purpose of decision-making frameworks for students? To help them analyze different outcomes and make informed decisions. Okay, let's go to the next one. So what role does resilience play in leadership? Well, we thought the most likely answer is adapting and continuing after challenges, because challenges do come up. How can an educator foster innovation in students? By creating a safe space for brainstorming and exploration. So are you giving them enough opportunity to speak their mind off, or are you closing and stopping their conversations? So the more you let them come up and express the ideas, the more they would be innovative in their approach and come up with different ideas. And lastly, the 9th and the 10th, which of the following strengths student-led initiatives in Indian schools? The most likely answer is encouraging community service and local projects. Fortunately, in India, we do have those choices which are available. What role does communication play in leadership? Active listening and clear expression of expectations?
Dear teachers, I would always actually like to share that as we teachers have our meetings, then there is points that are always shared among the teacher group. In the same way, whenever you appoint the duties in your groups and all that, at times we don't share the minutes of meeting among all the groups. So if this strategy we can start in our among our student also, because there are students who are coming from different school to us for the internships. They often say, ma'am, what do you mean by minutes of meeting? So these kind of things should start from school, so that they are well advanced, aware of that nobody is left behind. If anybody is not there, at least minutes of meeting is going. The way few teachers today are missing, doesn't matter, we will definitely share the recording, but that recording may not make an impact. But yes, there are challenges when the student are not able to work, but they should not be left behind. So this kind of thing will help you to involve those children who are actually not, क्योंकि जब हम वो इंटरेस्ट छोड़ देते हैं और उनको मिनट्स ऑफ मीटिंग भी नहीं पता चल रहे, हो क्या रहा है नहीं पता चल रहा, they will totally lose the track and hence are not interested in doing the teamwork. Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, very important point. Thank you so much, Aarti. Okay, let's get to the third part of it. How do we behave as leaders? What leadership traits should we have? And then we went on to see, okay, how can we instill leadership in the students? Now, let's also dwell on the fact that what should the respect be for institutional leaders, which means you're all in schools, there are principals, there are management committees, there are founders over there. How should our behavior be for them? So it's very important that as educators, you all understand that what are the challenges which principals and founders face, which is probably much beyond just the normal day-to-day curriculum and classes, etc. Because there are many other things which are involved. We are talking about coordination across departments. It's not only the school department, but you are existing in a city. There is coordination which is required between the local bodies. There is coordination which is required with the whichever curriculum you are following. So whether it's CBSE or IB, you have to be in touch with them and you have to see what are their expectations. There is also a community which exists beyond your boundaries of school walls. What is required and expected by them in academic responsibilities? What are the other things which you need to introduce, whether they are guided by CBSE or in IB, whether you're looking at your own innovative curriculum part of it? What could those be? It's very important to understand how the role of each principal and founder goes much beyond the day-to-day working. And why is it important to know that? Because some of the decisions which are communicated by them, or some of the asks which come from them, may seem a little, you may not be aligned to why those asks are coming. What is behind it? Why does that step need to be taken? Why are we being asked to do that? Now, it's very important when these things happen, you also understand and communicate respectfully with them so that you're aligned to what is required by them. So whenever those asks comes, Are you acknowledging or just, shrugging it off? Do you have any feedback towards it? And is there a common goal which exists, which all of you need to work together as a team? Now, there could be many instances where certain asks come to you, and you may or may not agree to it, or you may not find it fair, or you may have a question as to why that ask is coming. Why are you being asked to do that? What do you do in those situations? So let's say there are instances, there will be times when you will have to talk about your disagreement. Now, when such communication happens, it is not wrong to disagree. You may have a certain point of view, but what is important is how do you express that disagreement? There is a constructive way of also expressing a disagreement. Now, how do we adapt to that behavior? So, the first and the most important point which we talk about over there is please keep the focus on issue rather than individuals. In our day to day life, in fact, in any and everything which we do, whether it's in family or in our professional life, we often make disagreements very personal. We often bring what we think about that other person into picture. We use that filter and we immediately put our biases, we immediately put our judgments based on the other person. What is important is to actually follow a behavior where we are able to remove the person out and say, okay, what is the purpose behind it? Why do we need to do it? What is the issue? So focus on the issue, focus on the purpose, not on the individual. The moment we are able to focus on the issue, you will be able to take out the personal bias. And if you have any information, and if you want to talk more about it, please support your arguments, your perspective with facts and reasoning. Don't just say it because you feel it should be that way. Or you may have heard some from somebody else. So look at it. Have you got enough data? Have you had that personal experience? Why are you saying what you're trying to say? What is the reasoning behind it? What are the facts behind it? And please remember, it's always easy to say no to a particular thing. And these are some things which go beyond the profession or the classroom or the education. It's in our daily life. We all end up saying no because of certain things. It's all right to say no, but whenever you're saying no, do you have another option? Can you suggest another option? Because the moment you suggest another option, it becomes your responsibility then to convince the other person as to why that is more important than what the other person is saying. If you do not have another option, then you should think twice about saying no or disagree. Or if you do not have a better option. So please make sure you focus on the issues. Please do not bring the individuals into picture. Please have enough reasons, enough data, enough facts behind what you're saying. And if you're saying no, then I'm sure you would have some better option. Because if you're saying no to something and do not have a better option, then that means what you're saying is we should stop. We should not progress. We should not move further. we should not grow. Now, that is not possible because the life has to go on. We all have to move ahead. So it's very important to make sure that you do have all these things into consideration. Artiji, you would like to add something?
Yeah, I would like to share that in one of my school, the principal every Saturday, two working Saturdays were there, and all these Saturdays, the principal used to take our workshop. And in the beginning, the teachers were 100% attending those, but later, a lot of gossiping started in the staff room that why the principal is not giving the time for us, a me time for our work, why she doing like this, why she is torturing me. Okay, so all these negativity slowly developed, and the principal who is putting a lot of effort to conduct the session over 4 5 months after that, she announced that she is not going to take the workshop. And I was the one who was actually growing under her because of this. But because of those 40% of the teachers who were not interested in the learning zone, these workshops have cancelled. Maybe some complaint or something might had happened. I don't know the reason, but this is the consequence that we later realize that what that we have done to the person who is always making us to grow, and we are
Yeah.
not ready to change. So please, as all teachers want a respect from their student, all the leaders or the principal, the director, they also want a respect for from the teachers also. So I
Yeah.
have a lot of regret for why the teachers are stopping the people who want to work for them. So this is one of my story that I always I am blessed to have that principal who made me understand how to be a leader, because the first session I attended under her gave me a spark to become a leader one day. So 10 years back, and now that her session is always reflecting back. So such is the impact later in your life. So I would request everybody who is coming in our life, they are coming for a reason and making us grow at times, since they are the leaders in our lives. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for this share, Artiji. So, one of the examples which I had said was instead of proposing a new policy outright, provide data on potential impacts and propose adjustments rather than just saying no about it. Uh, let's do a quick scenario on this. Principal implements a new policy that some staff feel unprepared for. How can educators provide constructive feedback and support implementation? Just take a quick minute or two and please try and answer what you think you would do. So you're uncomfortable with the new policy. You don't like some parts of it. How can you provide a constructive feedback? Anybody, I would invite anybody from the group. You can just talk about it.
So
Yes, ma'am.
yeah. So this happened in my previous organization where I was working. So
Okay.
the principal implemented the new policy of where all the teachers were supposed to upload their monthly report of what they have taught in an Google sheet that they have created in something. And there were a few things that need to be jotted down and some evidences that need to be attached in that. And obviously the staff started disliking this ki, why our workload has been increased, why sir is asking us to do all this work, it is no point here. So there were a lot of discussions, lot of disagreements. At least in my group what I told them was ki, see, if you are doing right in your own class, what you are teaching, you are 100% confident about it, you should not be discouraging the policy, you should not be talking about it.
कितनी देर लगती है एक फॉर्म भरने में? अगर आपको पता है आपने क्या पढ़ाया है, अगर आपको पता है आप सही काम कर रहे हो, तो ठीक है यार, लास्ट सैटरडे यू हैव टू जस्ट टेक आउट 10 minutes and do the needful. Um, my friends did agree to it, and we started doing it for a few months. And after that, I had this opportunity to talk to sir. And there, I was like, then I had this conversation with him where, sir, teachers can always, give a false evidence. They can forge the evidences. The better way to see what the teachers are doing is a live this observation in the classes, something that you can do just out of you're just taking a round and you can enter the class, you can check and everything, or somebody on your behalf could do it, rather than this, because we had been doing it but we are not sure whether the teachers are actually implementing those things in the class or not. And he did agree to it, and he did some changes in the policy. So first we should just go with the policy. We should see how it is working, how much, to what extent it is correct or not, and then we should start with the discussion rather than outrightly saying no to something.
Right. Thank you so much, Mamtaji, because this is exactly what you did. You brought in and gave another option, which probably turned out to be much more effective.
Right.
Rather than just saying, no, it should not happen. So excellent. Great example. Thank you so much. Anybody else who would like to talk about it?
Sir, can I speak?
Yes, please, actually.
Yeah. Sir, this is what I feel that, everybody, when we hear of something new that is coming up, something, we always look at one point, oh, workload बढ़ेगा रे, ये क्या जरूरत है, हम तो upload करते हैं, we do this, we do that. But, I agree that, when something new is being talked about, or when something, our seniors are trying to implement, there must be something they are thinking about it. Yes, I might not agree to certain points, but before speaking, before talking something negative about that particular policy, we should first, our job is to find out what will be the outcome. Without knowing the outcome, we jump and say, nahi, nahi, impulsive decision hai. 4 लोगों ने बोला that you should not be doing it. And I said, nah, yeah, I should not be doing it. ये तो बेकार. But yes, I agree. But if they are in that position, they at least have done their homework. They have worked on their points. They have you can discuss, you can talk about those points, note it down, but don't be so impulsive. See, speaking for something there is no harm in it. If a policy is being implemented, you have to do that. You can question it, but there you should have that, as sir you have already said, that there has to be your reasoning. You should be ready with an alternative. If the senior, if your principal, or if your director cross questions you and tells you that I want this, my outcome is this, and I want this outcome, you suggest a different way, I will follow it. So then at that, instead of being embarrassed, you should be able to bring that alternative. So I feel impulsive talking and, making a particular judgment in your mind should not go. It should not be that, 10 people are saying no, so it is wrong. It can be changed, modified, but yes, you can put your point, but not without doing your homework, not without having an alternative. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
So
very much,
this is
Aisha ji.
exactly what we call about reacting and responding to a situation. So we should know that
Absolutely.
we need to respond and not react. So that's the
Absolutely.
basic life skill with us.
Thank you very much. Yes, Dipali ji.
So, if principal has implement some policy, first of all, we should begin by acknowledging the principal efforts. She's doing something for bringing the change, and we should give a try. Like Aisha ma'am said, first we should give a try. What it will cause us, and we should collect specific instances or scenario where the new policies has caused challenges for the teachers. Then we can put forward our negative what we will say negative thought for that policy, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dipali ji. Another very important perspective is before we start even thinking anything about it, how many times do we go and say, okay, this is what you're suggesting us to do. Can you tell us why? What is the reason behind it? Nobody is stopping you from asking those questions. So, as what we say is, are you being curious enough? Because if you're not being curious, then you do not have the full information. Maybe if out of curiosity you go and ask, okay, can I understand why you're implementing this? And you get an answer, you may find it's very well required. It could be a government initiative, it could be required from the board, it could be a requirement because of X, Y, and Z reason. But you must first try and understand why. So please remember, we spoke about do not assume, do not judge, but also please remain curious throughout, because curiosity then leads to continuous learning, always. Okay, let's just move ahead with this. So this is what I just tried to explain how it can be done, but I think all of you have just talked about it. Very quickly, if we summarize this, acknowledge the policy's rationale. So ask about the rationale, acknowledge it, share feedback respectfully. So talk about it, suggest a solution, and then collaborate along with it. Can we quickly, can you put down how can demonstrating respect towards leadership improve school culture? Okay, what is coming out clearly out here is trust, respect, positivity, encourages collaboration. So how does it do? You talked about trust. Yes, it fosters trust. There is open communication and collaboration. You talked about positively, encourages a positive example for students, builds a sense of community and promotes teamwork, and supports mutual accountability between staff and leadership. There is a fourth aspect which also I would want to just focus on quickly is, apart from you being the leaders and instilling leadership and respecting everybody else, it also adds to community leadership. Because after all, you're existing in a community. So you play a very important role in engaging with the local community, and you understand their needs, and also foster the connections between the school and the community organization. One of the example is, when you do the student-led service projects, it could be a cleanup drive or local health awareness camp. And one of the tip over here is you can actually get around and partner with NGOs, civic bodies to create that impact which exists. So there is a very important role of educators in the community outreach and partnerships. The second is collaborative efforts with parents and community organizations. And again, one of the ways to do is when you have the education fairs, when students showcases their projects and address the local issues, etc. And one of the tips to go about to doing it is when you have regular feedback channels with parents and you work with the organization to strengthen collaboration and accountability. So very quickly, just to look at it, what did we talk about in summary? In our conversations today, we spoke about you all as leaders. We talked about instilling leadership in students. We spoke about respect for institutional leaders. And we spoke about community leadership. And it also leads to interactive learning. So in summary, you all play a very crucial role in shaping future leaders by modeling leadership. And by fostering student initiatives, and building a culture of collaboration and mutual respect. As I said, we are all like a goldfish in a round bowl, and we are being watched. And the people see us and they model, you know, keeping our actions in mind. So it's very important that we make sure that we realize that we are very self aware of our actions all the time because they are influencing every person around you, including all the students. So, with that, thank you very much from my side. Uh, I would open this conversation now for any other questions. If you would like to seek any clarification, share any observations, would be happy to do that. Please, Aisha ji.
Yes. Sir, actually, a session where your input is, is accepted or is taken care of, whatever you say, and you have provided a really very, it is such a difficult topic, leadership in action. We all have our own views, but the way you interacted with each one of us and whatever viewpoints we had, you added your point and you did not say that you are wrong. This is something is a positive boost for us. I might be 1% correct, and you added that 99% and told that you are 100% correct, and this is what I feel. I mean, I'm really very full of gratitude that we've had this wonderful session with you. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, today I, due to some personal reasons, I was a little upset for some time, but yes, today I felt, yes, I'm back in action just because of the way you conducted the session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Aisha ji. Important thing for all of us to realize is that we are all different human beings and we all have our own perspectives. Nobody is wrong. It just takes a little more effort from all of us to understand the other person. As I said, if we all can be a little curious, it really would serve us much better. There is one statement which we always talk about to our clients is be more interested than interesting. Always be more interested than interesting. Our normal human nature is that we all like to talk about ourselves and what we believe in. So that is good. But if we also hear the other person, I think we'll forge much better relationships. If we are, if we can increase our curiosity levels, if we can control our nature of being judgmental, and if we can be aware of our biases. Now, is it wrong to be biased? No, because all of us are biased. Obviously, our life journeys have been different. We've been brought up differently. We come from different families, different cultures. Obviously, we have our rights and wrongs. And the moment you have a right and wrong means you're biased. So there is nothing wrong in being biased, but are you aware when you are being biased, which may impact the other person, is what you have to be careful about. So I'm so very glad to have spoken to all of you. Thank you so much for your time, and once again, thank you so much, Aarti ji and Shami ji, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to speak to everyone right at the beginning of this new year.
Like always, this session, this talk or conversation, I would say, has been so enriching. Whenever I listen to Vipin Tuteja, sir, all I have to do is just listen because there are so many words of wisdom that I keep adding on in, to my life. And today was no different. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you, educators. Today we have learned that besides having the education of heart, we need of head, we also need to have some education of the heart as well. Be good collaborators, empathetic people, and good communicators. So amazing. Please share your feedbacks with us. It really helps us, like, know what exactly are the things that you're going to incorporate in your life, in your teaching, and what else we can do more for becoming more empowered as educators and lead our children well. So, thank you very much.